Okay, my good friends.
Hello, my friend, Roger Baby. And yeah, I know you didn't mean me. I'm sure if you know of my existence, you probably hate me. But hey, I still got your best interests at heart, mate. Unlike your subscribers, who keep encouraging your silliness. Shame on them. But what are you gonna do? Oh, I know, make fun of them. You guys, Roger is wrong, and you are making him wronger. Stop it.
Creationism is now a conspiracy theory, extremely dangerous, just as dangerous as the people that tried to break into our capital.
Oof, that's dangerously close to actual news type stuff on this channel. We don't want anything actually relevant around these parts. It's too bloody depressing. But I do want to point something out. This title, when I first saw the video, was called something along the lines of Creationism is a dangerous conspiracy theory. But now you've changed the title to Academia claims God is a dangerous conspiracy. Which, well, that's clearly not what your little article there is talking about. And is not what you even thought it was at first. It just seems a little bit dishonest if you ask me. I mean, even most Christians don't believe anything as stupid as creationism. So we'll almost certainly be like, so what at your original title? But now you've turned it into an attack on all the faithful. And that's just naughty, and why I don't think you should be hanging around with those bigger kids at the park anymore. You know the ones. They chew gum and use curse words. They are clearly a bad influence on you. Tisk, tisk, tisk.
And it's this young creationist theory of Earth and so forth is one we cannot ignore because it is dangerously opposed to science.
See, now, that's not the same thing as you said, really, is it? I mean, I agree, nonsense like that is dangerously opposed to science, along with every other wackadoodle conspiracy garbage. I mean, theory. They are largely all about as bad as each other, and many believe the other ideas as well, even when they clearly contradict each other, which is fun. I mean, seriously guys, at least get yourself some consistency in your total nonsense.
Well, let's discuss the science of your conspiracy theory creationists.
Science, in big old quotes, probably several dozen of them at least. Because it's not so much science and a complete and total lack of understanding of science, book waving and making poor arguments that don't hold up even when big stupids like me engage with them.
Okay, so let's see who's dramatically opposed to science.
Is it you? Oh, I bet it's you who is dramatically opposed to science, seeing as most of what you call science is looking at random rock formations and then proclaiming it's definitely a dragon, or a dragon egg, or dragon feet, or, you know, the guy likes dragons. Go figure that a man with an extremely childish view of the world would be so into mythical creatures. FYI, I think dragons are awesome too, but I'm pretty sure that's unrelated to me and my Hot Wheels set.
I sent off blood.
I'm sorry, can we backing the hecking up? You did exactly what now?
I sent off blood.
You sent off blood? Whose blood? Was it your blood, or was it someone else's? And if it was, will you give it back to them, please? You know, people need their blood. It's really very important. I mean, how else are you supposed to get all that precious booze around your body when you don't have enough blood in your alcohol system?
Literal blood that I extracted from arteries, not just scraped off the edge.
My God, he has been stealing blood. That's horrible. Can I have some? I need it for science. And not because I don't understand that a Bloody Mary isn't actually supposed to have blood in it or anything like that. Still, it tastes really good. Better than a tomato, which frankly tastes nothing like stolen blood. Worthless.
I drilled into him, took it and sent it for tests and had the DNA done. That was on 2015.
Horrifying. He's been drilling into people to steal their blood. I mean, it's not even the right way to do it. It makes such a mess when you drill into someone to extract all the life juice. Or so I've heard. Coincidentally, I heard that the same day I was fired from the children's hospital for, I'm assuming, some unrelated reason. I have no idea what that reason was. I had a lot of people screaming and chasing me with pitchforks for murdering all those orphans or some such nonsense. I don't really know. I was too busy drilling holes in people to really pay attention.
May of 2015. Now, That was blood from that particular, that was one rock, but they're all like that.
Up. Wait, what the frick? You're literally trying to get blood out of a stone. No, come on, Roger. Come on, you must know that. You must know the phrase, you can't get blood out of a stone. That phrase isn't meant as a pigging challenge. It means that a task is impossible, because you don't get blood out of stones, because they don't have blood, because they're stones, you daft git. God damn. I wish I was as funny as you are ridiculous, because then I would be unstoppable and able to kill people with deadly, deadly comedy. The dream.
And I got blood out of this and sent this off to have it DNA tested, and it was 100% human DNA.
This famous DNA certified thing that I hear you and your lot bandy about all the time. When I've never seen this apparent test and what it actually says, let's have a look and see if he's posted a link to, Oh, for God's sake, he's changed the bloody title again. I'm not kidding. I get the need to change it to a more catchy title, but yours changes the meaning. This better be the last time or I'm going to be mad. Also, no, there's no sign of this legendary DNA certification. You would think if it was so genuinely useful and meaningful, he would put it front and centre in every single video. But no. How strange.
Anatomist looked at it. He said, absolutely no question that's a human fingertip.
Which anatomist? Who? And why are we already back at the rocks again? I thought this was going to be creation, not the Mudfossil University lack of variety hour. That is to say, every single moment of your channel. I thought you would finally come up with a new topic for us to discuss, but it seems it's just an excuse for you to talk about rocks again. Anyway, I got distracted. Give me a name for your so-called anatomist, so I can have words with them about encouraging you to act like a pill. That is, if they exist or are, and this is probably the most likely explanation, just one of your followers pretending to have qualifications that they not only don't have, but could never actually achieve, you know, because they subscribe to you, unironically.
And I had a CAT scan, and I understand the chemistry and the fabric and so forth. Now,
you really do sound like a petulant child. And I understand the chemistry, and I am a big smart brainer, and you're all poopy heads, and I'm taking my ball and going home. First, Roger, that's not a ball, that's a rock. And secondly, that's not your rock, it's mine. I use it for my traditional ceremony of crushing kittens flat and using them as kitty-shaped pizza bases. Yum yum. What else am I supposed to use? Bread? Nah, mate, that shit makes you fat.
so I think that's a little bit of science.
Making stuff up about what you think you know is not science, Roger. Science is a method. Science is a way of establishing facts, but only when it's done properly. When your science is only about proving what you want the world to be like, chances are you aren't going to be doing any science whatsoever.
Well, here's Derek Briggs, August of the same year. Meet the newest sea scorpion. And he figured out how that thing fossilized.
I'm sorry, did I just start watching a different video halfway through? I would say it's like you just forgot what you're talking about, but that's an edit. You did this on purpose. This was your vision for the video. And I'm assuming it has nothing to do with the topic at hand. Let me just check to make sure he hasn't changed the title again. Oh, now that's just mean. I'm not dumb. Well, I am, but I'm very sensitive about it.
Here it is. The undisturbed, oxygen-poor bottom waters within the meteorite crater led to the fossil's remarkable preservation.
Okay, that's very interesting. Not only the discovery, but, well, this noise. It makes you sound like a geriatric predator from the movie Predator, stalking a big bag of Werther's originals. Why on earth it's such a funny idea that you have to be super weird about it, I don't know, but I'm sure we will find out soon enough.
It's incredible. And this was, I've been after him for several years about my stuff, would refuse to even look at it, still to this very day.
Okay, so assuming that the guy you were talking about is a big science boy, and if I understand your problem correctly, you think that this discovery is ridiculous or perhaps at least hard to believe, so why doesn't this guy look at my stuff? Well, A, you are like one of a zillion cranks messaging them all the goddamn time, right? I'm pretty sure he doesn't even know who you are. And B, and this is the important part, the reason he put his name behind something you think is absurd is because it's actually got evidence behind it. Evidence that actually proves that it happened or is real, and your evidence is just you saying that rocks are people. And the evidence you do apparently have, you haven't shared with anyone, it seems. I wonder why.
And I'm telling you right now, I'm asking somebody to sue Yale for this kind of behavior. This is intolerable.
That's not how it works, Roger. Your work, your findings should speak for themselves. And in a way they do. They say, the person who made this has no idea how science works. You need to actually learn how they do things and why, and not just make up your own version of science that suits your conclusion. I mean, this whole DNA certified shtick. What does DNA certified mean? I assume it means they found human DNA in and around your samples. The samples that you constantly manhandle, that are not taken in any kind of lab environment, and are more than likely soaked in your various bodily nonsense. So if there was indeed human's DNA found in something you sent, I can only assume it got there because you wittingly or otherwise freaking put it there.
Same thing with Harvard. If somebody should sue them too, I'd sue every single one of them.
Go ahead, but prepare to spend a shed-load of money to be laughed out of the courtroom. And even if, by some bizarre set of incredible circumstances that lead to, frankly, a total miscarriage of justice, and the courts actually agreed that what you are doing has to be taken seriously by academia, well, that's not how science works. Science is not and has never been decided in a court of law, because courts of law are not in the business of hard science. The things they prove only have to be beyond a reasonable doubt, because there are always so many unknowns. Hard science isn't just beyond a reasonable doubt, and it isn't decided by what a bunch or even a single layman thinks, or even a single scientist thinks, but absolutely mountains of evidence. And evidence that, again, isn't something that just makes you look really silly.
If I had paid them for their advice and found out that they were disregarding anything that interfered with their opinion.
Established science isn't an opinion. Established science is as close as we can get to fact. Disagreeing with established science is the only opinion that we're dealing with here, and it's an opinion based usually on faulty data most of the time. And if you do disagree with the science and are correct and can prove it, that becomes the science. I mean, you're sitting here getting very mad and making what is essentially threats to these people, and you wonder why some folks think you might be a bit dangerous.
So that they could stay a hero and be employed rather than to do the correct thing and say, no matter what happens, I have to work in your interest. I will look at this stuff because if it is true, it's very significant. If it isn't true, I can prove it, but I will work for you because I am your fiduciary.
Dude, seriously, you are not the only person doing this. Have you seen the internet? Hell, my channel has hundreds of different specific topics, all claiming to be true fact real science guys, and that's only a fraction of what's out there. And you're expecting someone to pay full attention to you specifically and proper science. If someone did look full on deep into all the claims of people, there's every chance they would not have the time to get to you. And the thing is, I remember reading a scientist had written a thing about folks exactly like you that send them constant theses, whatever. Slabs of random gibberish is more accurate anyway. And this guy would try, and I say try with a capital T, to read them all, up until they got something incredibly wrong, and then he'd just stop. Because really, what's the point after that? Every single time it was on the first page, and almost every time within the first paragraph. That is what happens to you, Roger. I'm sorry to say. Do you know how I know this? Because I've seen your theories, and they are absolute nonsense. And even if you were paying them to look at your nonsense, which I doubt, I assume you mean you pay your taxes, therefore you have a right to waste infinitely more of their time than anyone else? No, that's just not the case. But even if you did actually pay them, you almost certainly will have had to agree to some kind of contract that says, if you are full of shit, we are going to ignore you to death. I know I would. At least I would if I was smart, but we've established that I'm not. So here we are, talking to you.
And I am obligated to do that. And if I don't, it's a criminal offense.
Lock 'em up, drag 'em into the streets and shoot 'em. Everybody must listen to me because I'm a big smart Brian. Do you even hear yourself right now? You sound even more absurd than usual, man. Give it up for crying out loud.
Now, this goes back 6 years ago, 5 years ago. Giant human hand, now DNA proven, needs peer review. Refused up till this very moment from a 100% of academia.
Yes, they all ignore you. All of them. If absolutely every expert ignored my brilliant universe-changing idea, I wouldn't then assume that they must all be in on something. I would assume that I'd gotten something wrong. And if I was really trying to figure stuff out, I would ask. Thing is, you actually have a pretty big platform. I am certain that some actual smart boys out there have the answers that you seek. In fact, I am sure they are constantly telling you in your comment section how and why you are wrong. The problem is, you aren't listening. And you haven't been listening for as many years as you've been pulling this crap. That's not academia's or science's or even the commenters' fault. That's your fault. Sort it out.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the